I started with an SPX Condor, rolled it once into high IV. Okay, perfect. The total credit ended up at $1,050 for a 10-point wide iron fly with shorts at 6,800. Okay, the trade expires this Friday. The credit exceeds the width, so I think I am in a good spot. I have a GTC set to close at 50%, but honestly, I don't think it will hit. So at this point, am I just waiting around and letting it expire to collect $50 lunch money? Is there something repeatable? Seems like free money.
So you probably got, I would not call it free money. And to answer the 50% thing, yeah, you're probably not going to get 50% unless you pin 6,800 pretty much on the dot at expiration and held it through that.
Now my buddy who writes into me all the time goes from Thursday into Friday. It typically is a bullish opening for SPX. I don't know if it's going to get to 6,800.
Yeah. But the reason you were able to do this was because of the change in volatility.
Yes.
You had volatility expand, so all your roll-ups, relative to when volatility stays where it is, your roll-ups might be $1. They were now $2.
Yep.
That's why you were able to roll in.
Great job out of you.
Yeah. So you do.
If your math is correct,
your math is correct. You're going to keep the $50, and
I'll go one better. I wouldn't even have the 50% close in this at this point. I mean,
no, it doesn't matter. It's done with.
Yeah, it's done with. But only good things can happen, right? I mean, if you get to a 50% profit on this, you're probably going to be a lot closer to 6,800 for a full win, and you got so much room to the upside. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I would sit there.
Yeah.
Next
good job out of you.
Thank you.
So not you, him, them.
Good job out of them. Yes.
Good job out of you.
All right. Good job out of you too.
When a directional trade such as a debit spread goes against you, is there any way to manage it? Can you do anything?
I mean, this is the flip side of the coin of having defined risk. I mean, there's not too much you can do here when you buy a spread. It's basically a 50-50 shot. You're risking a lot more money than just buying the option itself, meaning just buying the at-the-money option or an out-of-the-money option. It doesn't work for you. Debit spreads, unfortunately, when they're in the same month, there's not a lot you can do with it. You're pretty much set with it. You bought something, at $5, it was $10 wide. It's a 50-50 shot. Now it's trading for $2.50. I mean, there's really nothing you can do with it. You can hold it or close it if you really want to. You got the direction wrong on a coin flip. You said heads and it came out tails.
That's it.
But you got a lot of time on your side. I mean, if you're putting these on with 45 days to go, a lot of things happen. We've moved 300 handles in 1 week.
Yeah.
Could do it the other way. Tails, there you go. Next one, please.
You guys talk about the curve in volatility or oil or other products. What is the curve and where can I see it?
I mean, you have a nice, you could put up yours in a minute. You've done a good job with that. I don't look at it as intensively as others because I look at the market all day long and I look at the trade page all day long. I mean, futures are brilliant, I think, on the Tasty Trade platform where you can see which month is trading. Here is K. You can see it here in the option series. Here is K. You can see the price is the same here as the one that you're trading. If this future is here and you look all the way through here, all of these options represent the future that you'd be looking at right now today. And when you go out to April 17th, you'll notice the future's a different price. You go out to June, the future's a different price. If you look at the Oprah code, you'll see that the code is different. It's all M's here. So for me, it's easy to see which futures trade, and then you can see the curve. Higher in the front month, lower in the back month. I mean, it's pretty easy to see. 90s in the front month, 70s in the back month.
Yeah. There's sites where you can see the visually, but yes, we're looking at it from a numbers perspective and just kind of visualizing that. For volatility, I make my own volatility watch list where you just if you plug in all of the yearly volatility tickers. So with
what does it tell you?
Expiration. Well, it tells you if it's in backwardation or contango.
But does it tell you anything for price? I mean, you could extrapolate out that volatility is going to stay bid when you're looking at this. If the back month is getting equal each day to the front month, that this volatility is going to last a little longer, subject to change on a dime.
Backwardation and contango give you an idea of the market's current sentiment.
That's correct.
I mean, when markets are going down, but you're still in a contango, it tells you that, it's meh. Right now, it's really flat to backwardated.
That's correct.
I mean,
which means what?
Backwardated to flat-ish.
In volatility. And what does that mean to you?
that this is pretty heightened fear. That tells you that, this is people kind of freaking.
Now, what do you want to do about it? That's the $64,000 question. Yep.
Right.
Next question, please. How do you guys know if selling is orderly or not? I often hear you talk about selling being orderly, but I don't know how to make that determination.
It's a good question. I wish there was like something I could just point to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I look at it from, just the move. When you're watching E-minis, like today, you're not having these like huge, 30-point swings, 20-point swings that we've had some weeks.
You haven't had them quickly, right?
You haven't had it quickly. Volume is another thing that you can look at. Like we were looking at E-mini volume was 1.5 million contracts yesterday, which is higher end, but like that's not panic selling. Like it's not everybody trying to get out. 1.5 million, it's right in line. You typically see more contracts traded when volatility is high and when markets are going down. That's just, how it works. So you can look at that. You can look at volatility. Like volatility is higher and is higher now than it was yesterday. But we were looking at like a 24 handle in volatility. It was mid-range. Some of the other things like gold and silver and Bitcoin, I try to use as a market awareness. Oil now because oil is moving, but just looking at markets, it's kind of like a feel thing. And I could be wrong.
Let me try to get in a different way. We would call it market awareness, but let's put it in a different way. You follow football a lot more than me.
Yeah.
You're in tune with teams. You know who's a high scorer.
Yeah.
You know who's a low scorer. So you might say, just looking at a game, two teams playing each other and 30 points were scored. You would say, oh my God, that's a really low score for those two teams.
Yeah.
I would look at the line prior and say that the line was 45 and then come in and have a conversation with you and say, yeah, that really was a low scoring game because it was only 30 points scored in that game. 45 was expected. That's the same thing you can do by looking at the implied volatility on the right-hand side and saying, wow, this was really an inside day because the implied volatility was so much greater than it, or this was really an outside day. Now, orderly, that's a lot more subjective. I'll go back to the football game.
Yeah.
If the first team scored, I'll go to a high-scoring game because it'll be easier. It was 60 points scored.
Yeah.
And the first team scored 45 points, and it was 45-0.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, the second team scored 60 points.
It doesn't seem orderly.
Doesn't seem orderly.
But if everybody's going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's an orderly.
So orderly is a lot more subjective. If it was two teams that had a high-scoring offense and they went back and forth, it would still be an orderly game. But if it was something that two teams that don't score a lot of points, so you really have to know what the implied value. This all comes down to a little bit of market awareness and knowing what the expected range is for any one product.